Phase 2, Day 1, and we're starting off with the bench press. And as you can see, we're coming all the way down to the chest touch and come almost all the way up, not at the complete lockout. Lockout's going to work a little bit more of the tricep. Get that nice stretch, contract those muscles on the way up. Here we're doing the kneeling landmine press. What you'll notice is the elbows are running a little bit more tight, and you're squeezing inward with the hands as you press up, really focusing on the upper inner chest on this one. One of our favorites for the upper chest. Come all the way down, get a nice squeeze at the top. This one you are pretty much locking out the top. You want to continue squeezing that chest inward as you press up. Now we're doing the underhand dumbbell fly. What you want to do is almost imagine like a pyramid shape, and you're working your hands all the way up to the top, the peak position. Get a nice squeeze at the top and bring it down. The elbows are going to be slightly bent but stationary, and what you don't want to do is curl them up and then bring them up. You want to keep the elbows just slightly bent, but you want to use that chest to bring those dumbbells up to the top position. Dips. Oh yeah, these ones are for chest. You want to bring it all the way down, get that nice stretch in the chest, and only come about 3/4 of the way up. That way you're not working too much of the triceps in this one. You're really trying to focus on that chest throughout the whole duration of this exercise. Keep that core nice and tight during that motion. Skull crushers, one of the best for those triceps. What you want to do is keep those elbows inward slightly. Don't let them flare out too much, because then you'll get more of a pressing motion. Bring it all the way down to the forehead and extend. Landmine 180s, great for that transverse abdominis. Keep those hips pretty stationary. Don't lead with the hips. Lead with the arms and really get a stretch in those obliques as you bring it from side to side. Contract them up to the top position and then bring them back down to the other side.
All right, as you can see, we're doing the kneeling cable crunch weighted. We're switching it up a little bit because unfortunately we forgot to bring our ab roller wheel here to the gym, and they don't have any round plates that you could throw on a barbell to do a ab roller barbell variation. When something like this happens where you can't perform the exercise, we say, just do a variation, feel free. Don't feel like you have to do exactly what we specify if you can't find that certain piece of exercise equipment, and just get creative with it.
Phase 2, Day 2. We're going to start this off with the pendlay row. Great exercise with the upper back, really explosive strength. It's going to be putting less stress on the lower back and more emphasis on that upper back. Contracting to this top position and just basically letting it drop down to the bottom position, not really allowing the eccentric contraction to take place. Keep that nice flat back, nice squeeze the top, just let it drop down to the bottom position. Moving on to deadlifts, one of our favorites for the back, but it's also a little bit in the legs too, the hamstrings. So it's as much of a pull, it's just as much as a push as well. So it's kind of 50-50. So imagining pushing with your legs, but also pulling with the back. Keep that back straight. Shoulders tight. Single arm dumbbell row. What you want to do is really lead with the elbow. Bring that elbow up as far as you can to get the complete traction of the lat and get a nice stretch at the bottom position. One of our favorite unilateral exercises for the back. So if you have any kind of issues of one lat is bigger than the other, or one is stronger than the other, this is a great exercise to really help with those issues, because you can do a couple extra reps on the weaker side to try to bring it up. Moving on to good mornings. This is almost similar to the deadlift as far as a lower back and also hamstring 50-50 work. You're going to be working the hamstrings, but you're also working the lower back as well. Pushing those hips back nice and far, keeping that back straight, and then get that nice stretch in the hamstrings, but also work in that lower back and core. Pull-ups, one of the best exercises for the back. This is going to be till failure. So what you want to do is just pull that body up as far as you can, bring those elbows back and down, and get a nice squeeze at the top. And completely exhaust those lats. If you can't do pull-ups, bodyweight pull-ups, you can always do pull-downs on the machine. That way you can do the same kind of motion, but you're not pulling up your own body weight. You can control the weight more. One of our favorite exercises for those biceps can be the barbell curls. This is a pretty simple one. It's going to be straight up and straight down. A lot of guys you'll see is the improper form is keep their elbows bent and bring up with their front delts instead of their biceps. Really try to keep those front delts stable. Zottman curls, we're getting to these till failure. You get a nice supination, twisting the wrists up and then pronate those wrists down and get a nice slow eccentric contraction on the way down. Day 3. Starting off with squats, one of the best exercises you can do, a huge compound movement. You're gonna push those hips back, get a little tightness in the hamstrings, stabilize the knees, and then you're gonna bring that down to the bottom position. Try to get as far down as you can, and then push up to the top position. And we're gonna superset these with jumping split squats. This is a little bit tricky, so it's gonna bring a lot of balance in there, gonna bring a lot of endurance, and you gotta be pretty quick with those feet to make sure you're switching those feet mid-jump. And you'll start feeling that burn in those quads, that's for damn sure, as you can tell. Finish these up. On to weighted glute bridges, or air humpers as we like to call them. We did this on a bench because you get a little bit farther range of motion. You can bring those hips down past parallel and then push off with the heels and get a nice squeeze in the glutes at the top position. It's going to be working the glutes, of course, but it's also working the core and a little bit in the hamstrings and quads. Overhead Bulgarian split squats. These ones are really tricky, and it's going to take a lot of balance and ankle stability, so they're excellent. And you're raising the center of gravity, so your core is really going to be activated to stabilize you through that motion. It's working the quads, glutes, hamstrings, core, a little bit in the shoulder. Lying hamstring curls are excellent exercise for isolating those hamstrings. You almost imagine as a bicep curl, it's the same kind of motion because it's the biceps femoris. You get a nice squeeze and stretch at the top. Seated calf raises. Pretty simple. What you want to do is get a nice stretch at the bottom position, bring those heels down, and then push off with the balls of your feet to get a nice contraction at the top. This one's a little different. A donkey calf raise is not seen a lot. You'll see in those 70s bodybuilders with Arnold and Franco, a lot of guys would have them on their backs, but we just made a variable on this one and actually had a weight belt and put the weight between our legs so we could get that same kind of contraction in the calves. Weighted planks. Excellent exercise for the core to build that nice strength in the core and help stabilize you through any kind of motion, either being in the gym, big compound movements like squats, or just outside the gym, picking up boxes if you're moving, whatnot. Plyo sit-ups. You have to create a lot of force to accelerate yourself and the ball off the floor and throw it up into the air, and then you have to decelerate it, catching it, and bring your body down to the bottom position. And this is contracting. It's getting a lot of work in that core to help accelerate the body and then decelerate on the way down. Day 4. We're going to start this off with Cuban press, so you get that nice external rotation to the top position, then you press upwards and then back down and then get a slight internal rotation to the beginning position. Great shoulder warm up. Get nice and slow and very light in weight to make sure you're warming those muscles up for heavier weight. And the overhead press is what we're going to do next. One of the best compound exercises for the shoulders. Bring it all the way down, keeping the elbows pretty close on this one. The grip's going to be just about shoulder width, and you get a nice contraction, complete lockout on this one. You really want to squeeze the traps at the top position, and you really feel the burn in this one. As you can see, Hudson is pushing these out. Moving on to the single arm dumbbell press. Excellent unilateral exercise, much like the rows we did earlier. We're really trying to fix any kind of imbalances we have in the muscles. Shoulder can be one of them, where either one can be bigger than the other or slightly stronger. So this one's going to help either find any of those issues or fix any of these issues if you do it properly. Moving on to the lying dumbbell lateral raise. This one's going to create a lot more work because you're lying on your side, so you're going to have to contract the muscle a little bit more to get it to the top position. You want to get a nice stretch in the delt, bringing it down and bring it all the way just about. You want to bring it to vertical to the floor, to that top position. You want to bring it any past than that because then the weight's going to be wanting to pull it in a improper position or past that vertical position. The bent over reverse flies are excellent exercise to help isolate those rear delts or posterior delts. Bend over and just bring those arms out as wide as you possibly can and get a nice contraction in the top. Moving on to the barbell shrugs. These are pretty simple. What you do is just bring those shoulders all the way up as far as you can, shrugging upwards and get a nice squeeze in those traps. Just visualize those shoulders are coming all the way up to touch your ears, and then slowly bring it down to the bottom position. Finger curls are an excellent exercise to isolate those forearms and get a massive pump. What you want to do is bring that weight all the way down to the ends of the fingers and then slowly curl it up to the top position, get a squeeze in those forearms. Guarantee you'll feel these ones. Nice burn, good pump. Veins start popping out too. Reverse curls, a great exercise for the extensors of the forearms. With the finger curls, you're working on the flexors. So these ones are the extensors. You're slightly working the bicep as well because it's an elbow flexion. And that was it. Hope you dudes and girls had fun. We'll see you next time. 12-week program, phase 3.